Hiring a virtual assistant isn't simplifying your business, and here's why. I was the head of the consulting team within a marketing agency, and we helped clients within marketing and sales and fulfillment to grow and scale their businesses. But when I was the head of this consulting team, I struggled with the same things that many clients of us struggled as well. So when I looked at our clients, especially the small companies or solopreneurs, they struggled with the overwhelm of tasks they had to fulfill on. And it doesn't matter if you're a small team or a bigger team, the complexity grow. And if you don't simplify your business, the complexity will get more and more, and you scale also the rubbish with it. And that happens to a lot of businesses. So when you feel like that you struggle with fulfillment and the overwhelm of all the tasks that you have to do, and you might think hiring a VA will simplify and my business and will help me with this, then I will tell you with this video that you will be wrong. So this will not help you at all. So the most people, when what I talk to, really think if I can just get rid of all the tasks I don't want to do and give it to a virtual assistant, then all my problems will be solved. But this is not how you solve it and how you simplify this. And how do I know that? Because I done it with my consulting team, and I was also working with a corporate company, a really big corporate company, and there it was the same thing. So we tried to implement things or outsource things to other companies and other supplier, but it doesn't reduce the complexity at all. So the processes mostly, it took really long time to fulfill then the tasks, or the fulfillment wasn't as good as expected from the virtual assistant or the outsourced companies where we outsourced it to. So the problem is really to nail the process there. And I had a lot of experience as an airline pilot because we work with processes and systems and SOPs, and so I really know how to align all the details that a system is working or the processes are working. But most entrepreneurs doesn't know that, how to systemize things that a process really work. So if you just take the thing, what you want to accomplish, and gave it to a virtual assistant, yeah, it might be, it's a high probability that it will not work because you have so much unconscious things you are thinking about that you will not provide to the VA. That's the first thing. The second thing is that this virtual assistant, if you just hire them, they are not aware of what your values are and what you really want to accomplish with this. So they are not integrated in your environment and your ecosystem. So that is the second part. But the most important part is, it's the question if you really need this task. And now I came to the three things that you need, or the three things and the steps you need to really simplify and grow your business thereafter. So before you outsource anything, or before you are thinking, yeah, you may hire a virtual assistant, think of all your tasks, write them all down, how you fulfill on that. What is the process behind each step? Once you have this, then you will ask yourself, and this is a three-step process, what can you eliminate? What can you automate? And then what can you delegate? That's really these three steps. So what processes or steps or working steps can you really delete? So getting rid of things makes you more simple, more efficient, and more productive. So really think of all the tasks that you have. So for example, what I've done with in my consulting team that I had was I looked at all these things, all the steps that we have to fulfill on because the client expected or purchased it. But there were very small steps and what we had internally, processes that didn't work very well, and also processes that weren't really necessary to really do. So I really delete them. So for example, the process of from the salesperson to onboard a client. So once I have to do it, put it in a different way. So once a client has purchased our consulting product, the sales rep just closed the deal within the CRM system. Then he went to the consultant and said, hey, here I have a new client. And then it was a back and forth about when the client could start and to book the appointment with the client. So all this back and forth within our company, I deleted completely, so that the sales rep, when the deal was closed, could schedule the call already with the client, with the consultant, and it really simplified the whole process of the onboarding. So from the sales to the onboarding of the client, so that the client really knew when he will start. It was really simplified there. So I looked at the whole process and eliminated also the very, very small things, even if it's just scheduling a call with a client, simplify this process. And this is really the first thing that you need to do. What working steps and processes you might get rid of without breaking the system. And I know this from my own consulting team, but I also know it from a lot of with the work of all the clients. So there are hundreds of small steps, and there are also a lot of processes you don't need to do. So get rid of them first, because they will scale with it. So if you try to grow your business, they will grow, and it will become more complex and doesn't simplify. So first, really think of the things that you can delete and get rid of. The second thing then, how can you automate things? So for example, with our consulting team, I automated a lot of things. Reminder, for example, for the consultants when to call a client for getting feedback, or just to let the client know how the project is going, and to really systemizing everything and automating everything that might fall behind and will not be done. Another example would be checking if so we had this, our clients had to pay upfront before we fulfill. So once or before the onboarding call, it must be it had to be sure that the client has paid at least the first bill. So this process of checking if the bill was paid, I automated everything within our CRM system. So there was no question for the consultant. And we had this a lot before we automated it, that the client or the consultant had this appointment with the client and the next day, and then he realized, oh, the bill wasn't paid. So it was really a struggle. Do we do the call with the client, or has the client to pay first? Do we trust the client that he will pay the bill? So this whole struggle that the client and with the client and the consultant, I totally automated it within our CRM system. So this is the second step, to automate everything that you can. And then only then you can think about a virtual assistant or assistant working with you in your office. So, because then you really know that you cannot delete it and you cannot automate it, and it's much more efficient to provide it to a person to do the thing, because some complex tasks are easier to provide to somebody else than let an AI do it or an automation do it. So only then, if you have eliminated everything, if you have eliminated or automated the things, then you think about the virtual assistant and outsource things from your task list. So these are the 3 steps. And if you do this correctly and document everything correctly, so that the virtual assistant is really able to do and fulfill what you want to do, then you have also excuse me, then you have also a really good system and process in place that you have documented that anybody else can take on. So, for example, your virtual assistant or any assistant is leaving your company or doesn't work with you anymore. So you can provide this process, only the documents, to another virtual assistant or assistant, so that they can take on the job very quickly. But you need to document this very precisely. And this, I realized that this is one really crucial thing. Are you able to think deeply about the steps, what you're doing, or are they unconscious? Because when we learn a skill, they become, what you're doing becomes unconscious. Think of riding a bicycle. In the first place, you are thinking about how you do everything, how you move the steering, how you move the pedals, how you stay on the bicycle, and where are you going. You really have to think through everything in the beginning, and you struggle a lot with this. But today you're riding your bicycle and doing everything else, talking, having a call, listen to a podcast, whatever you do on a bicycle. So it became an unconscious process within you. But this is also true with a lot of processes we do within our working life. So once the process becomes unconscious and you will be very good at it to do this task, it's really hard to provide this process to another person. And I realized this when I went to this online marketing agency with which was led by a friend. And he's told me one day, I really struggle with productizing myself. I am really good in marketing and sales and providing a great consulting product, but I am not able to teach it to other people. So I looked at him and I went to a lot of client meetings with him, and I was able to spot what he was doing, but I couldn't teach it to others. And I realized that whenever I asked him a question, he said, yeah, it's very easy. Just do this and this and this. And I said, yeah, I understand how to do the things, but I don't have the map that you have to really follow through everything. And this is what I mean with, you need to have a clear picture of your process and how you work, because otherwise you're not able to provide this in any kind of form to anybody else, that they are able to fulfill this task on your behalf with this quality and your standards. So this is what I learned with being an airline pilot, with all the systems and SOPs what we have, how granular and detailed they are and how they are built. So I proved this with this consulting team, that I was able to take the knowledge of someone and put it into a training program that we can really build or train new consultants from scratch within a very short time period. So it's really crucial that you understand how you are working, what details do you have to fulfill on, and how you do the things. If you have questions with this or need help with systemizing your processes, then just schedule a call. The link is within the description below, and see you in the next video.